Anyway, so this week I was in the market with the third generation Apple TV having been released. I was comparing, because I wanted something that could do 1080p video. Because I had a second generation Apple TV which can only do 720p video. I was in the market for that, and I looked into some of the alternatives, and I found a product made by D-Link called Boxee. And it's quite a bit more expensive than the Apple TV. The Apple TV is $109, but it doesn't come with an HDMI cable. A Boxee box is $189, but it does come with an HDMI cable. So they're in reality about $40 apart, not $80.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because HDMI cable usually run you about $40.
Yeah, because it costs more money than God.
Yeah, I know, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, you could get them for like $5-10 depending on where you go. But that's actually,
Yeah.
I think that's the only product I've ever heard of that actually comes with the fucking HDMI cable. So that's,
I know, that's props for that.
That's a shock enough.
Now, in comparing these two devices...
Pretty sure my PS3 came with VGA cables.
Yeah, great.
It's fucking
That's
useless.
useful.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Fucking, that's great
You
news.
get that 480i resolution.
Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful.
Not everybody.
What do you think this is, a Wii?
Yeah. Oh! We got there first, but I was totally making that
Not
joke.
everybody can afford an HD TV, ladies and gentlemen.
What? Who the
They give them away for free these days. You can get like a 30-inch HD TV for like $200
Not when
now.
PS3 came out.
No, okay. Yeah, but when the PS3... If you could afford a PS3, you should be able to afford an HD TV,
You're right.
considering $599 US.
You should be getting the HD TV first, then getting the PS3. But,
Right.
But I don't know. Some people are backwards.
Right. So, leaving that aside, the Boxee box versus the third generation Apple TV basically comes down to a question of what kind of user are you? What are you going to be using this thing for?
Porn.
Okay.
So the Boxee box is for you.
Yes.
All right.
Clearly. The name
I
should
love
say it all.
box.
Anyhow.
This is terrible.
If you get most of your content through that you buy online through iTunes, or you mostly are looking for a set-top box that you can use for Netflix or for streaming, like you can order NHL Center Ice or whatever, all these different other TV packages that offer streaming abilities, and you are not really tech-savvy, then I would highly recommend the Apple TV as the device of choice, because you plug it in and it works. Typical Apple fashion, it's got a great user interface. All the stuff you download through iTunes already comes with all the metadata built into the MP4s. Mm-hmm. So, and it, the metadata shows up all nice in the iTunes format on the Apple TV. So it's a really great user-friendly device. If, on the other hand, your primary interest in a set-top box is to be able to play a variety of high-definition video files you have stored on a hard drive on one of your computers in your home network, and you have like you're talking about wanting to be able to play a wide variety of file formats, and you're tech savvy enough to be able to get in, because it is quite a bit more technologically complicated to use than an Apple TV, then the Boxee box is the absolutely perfect solution. It's harder to set up. It will crash occasionally, having to be hard reset from the button on the Boxee box.
Really? How often?
It happened to me a couple of times, but I was trying to make it do like backflips in testing it. I was testing it to the limits of what it can handle. Okay? But the major problem is that D-Link are retarded.
Yeah, well.
Okay? I can agree with that, yeah.
Here's
their
the thing.
routers are fabulous.
Okay, here's the thing.
No, they're not.
They have this program.
That was sarcasm.
They have this program called the Boxee Media Manager, okay, that you can download for an Apple computer or for a PC.
These names kill me.
Now, this should be the most obvious thing in the world to set up. Make a program, make this Boxee Media Manager. You can install it on either, pick which folders to share, and you should be able to see them on the Boxee box.
Yeah, I would have thought that's how it works.
It should be the absolute minimum standard for how you should make this easy to use for people to stream their files to the Boxee box. But it doesn't work. The actual Boxee Media Manager is incredibly buggy and doesn't work effectively at all. And you can't even get it to work on a Windows computer at all unless you're aware of how to set up some advanced settings with Bonjour services and some other stuff with Windows Firewall.
Bonjour is that thing that's installed in Program Files x86 that no one knows what it does.
Right.
You just spoke a whole bunch of Asian to me. I'm kind of turned on.
Okay.
That was wrong on several levels at once, but I'll leave that aside for the moment.
It's fine.
In order to get the most out of a Boxee box, You really need to understand how to set up SMB file sharing on a Windows network or NFS file sharing. These are things that are not suitable tasks for the average non-technologically savvy computer user, home user. They probably don't know how to do this kind of stuff. Now, in addition to the review I'm going to do for the website, I will put up a guide that puts together all the information necessary to set this thing up properly on a home network where you have a Wi-Fi router, so that you can stream all of your media content to the Boxee box in a relatively easy way. But if people don't know how to use some pretty good Google Foo to find these tips, like it took me a couple of days to figure out how to set up an NFS file share.
Yeah.
Because I stumbled onto it in the support forums for Boxee box. It's not in the FAQ, it's not in anything. Same thing for setting up SMB file sharing. Yeah, unless you're familiar with being a network administrator for a Windows network, it's going to be a little bit difficult for you to set this up, particularly on a Windows 7 machine.
Yeah, and at that point, if you're using Windows 7 machines that are running, are you running Ultimate Edition or Pro?
Ultimate.
There's like so many freaking versions of Windows.
Oh yeah, there's so many versions of networking in Windows 7.
Exactly. If you're running, the big problem you'd run into if you're running Windows 7 Home Edition is that you actually don't have the ability to do these networking options.
Right. So
if you have Windows 7 Home Edition, maybe don't buy a Boxee box.
No, it's fine. You can, because there's an easy, free, well, it's
easy,
free to try program for Windows that allows you to set up an NFS file share. That's it's not necessarily intuitive, but if somebody posts an adequate explanation of what to do, it's not that hard.
Okay.
And it's by far the most secure way to set this thing up to stream content to your Boxee box. So I have it set up that all the content on my network can stream to the Boxee box, but cannot be accessed by anything outside of my local network. Mm-hmm. So, but I'll put up an article on the site explaining how to do that. The big strength, though, with the Boxee box is that it'll play virtually any file format. You want to play a Matroska file, you want to play an MP4, Windows Media file, a QuickTime file, MOV, almost any file format you can think of, up to and including Flash video files.
Will it play my Real Player files from 1999?
Probably not. But any relatively modern file standard used by anybody, it will play. And one of the big advantages, as someone who downloads a lot of anime that aren't necessarily released in North America yet, like I talked a little while ago about Steins Gate, I still want to do a review for the website. I downloaded that when it hasn't been released on Blu-ray in North America at all. So I downloaded an HD version that was fan-subbed, okay? And anyone who deals with subtitled anime downloaded in Matroska files will know that the type of subtitles that are built into most Matroska files do not work if you try to import that file to MP4 format.
Yeah.
So you end up having to strip out the subtitles, convert them into the other format, and add that into the MP4 before you add the file to iTunes. Yeah. So I found I was ending up spending hours just working with the files to convert them into a format I could import into iTunes for use on the Apple TV. Yeah. So for me, the extra $40 net that I ended up spending extra on the Boxee box pays itself back in all the time I'll save, because it'll play Matroska files with ASS subtitles. No problem. Just bang, it loads.
I don't even know what ASS stands for, but that sounds amazing.
It's a certain subtitle format.
All right.
And the point is that, you can play, you don't have to do any work. So it's like, if whatever
aside from setting the thing up, obviously.
Yeah, once you set it up, though, but the time you spend setting it up doesn't take that long. It's just a matter of you got to know what the hell you're doing.
Yeah.
If somebody posts an adequate guide in one place that tells you how to do this stuff, it's easy to follow. Okay? It's just that the information is not collated anywhere it's easy to get to. But the time you save in terms of actually manipulating media files is massive. So for anyone who is going to be watching a lot of their own video content in various file formats of whatever kind,
G only watches his own video content at all times.
Right. No, Megan Pipe. He only watches Megan Piper video content at all times.
Well, he green screens himself in.
I Photoshop myself in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, agree. You can. Well, I guess if you want to watch a slideshow, you can Photoshop yourself in.
Yeah, green screen. Whatever.
No, green screen, man.
Let's leave aside the video editing details and stop nitpicking on that.
Yeah.
The point of the matter, the point of the fact is, if you watch a lot of your own video content of whatever description, the Boxee box is definitely the superior choice. If you want something that you can use with your Netflix account and stuff you buy from iTunes, get an Apple TV. Fiend. Anyway, so this week I was in the market with the third generation Apple TV having been released. I was comparing because I wanted something that could do 1080p video. Because
I heard of that actually comes with the fucking HDMI cable. So that's,
I know that's props for that.
That's a shock enough.
Now, in comparing these two devices,
pretty sure my PS3 came with VGA cables.
Yeah, great.
Fucking
that's
useless.
Useful.
Yeah,
great.
Fucking that's great news.
I had a second generation Apple TV which can only do 720p video. I was in the market for that, and I looked into some of the alternatives, and I found a product made by D-Link called Boxee Box, and it's in reality about $40 a part, not $80.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because HDMI cables usually run you about $40.
Yeah, because they cost more money than God.
Yeah, I know, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, you could get them for like $5-10 depending on where you go, but that's actually I think that's the only product I've ever heard.
Quite a bit more expensive than the Apple TV. The Apple TV is $109, but it doesn't come with an HDMI cable. A Boxee box is $189, but it does come with an HDMI cable. So they're